Today on the Chairman's Circle, it's time for the biggest football game of the year, and Fulton County government is playing a role. We'll show you how Fulton's team has prepared for Super Bowl 53, from the anti-sex trafficking steps we've taken to the public safety and health inspection measures. We're ready. I'm Rob Pitts, and the Chairman's Circle is next. Hi, and welcome to the Chairman's Circle. I'm Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts. I'm pleased to bring this program to you where we meet interesting people, talk about important issues, and give you a chance to weigh in on social media. So let's get to it. I'm sure that you're all well aware that the events of this week and the weekend are a big deal for the state of Georgia, the city of Atlanta, and yes, even the largest county, Fulton County government. I'm talking about Super Bowl 53 and the years of planning. It's finally here. Fulton County's police chief has been on the planning team for Fulton County government. Chief, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you again. I know.
Thanks for having me back.
I know you've been busy, so tell me what's going on.
Super Bowl. We're getting prepared for the Super Bowl.
So what have you been doing? Talk to me.
It started about 2 years ago, and through the efforts of not only the police department, but the Fulton County's emergency management led by Matt Kallmeyer. He's done a yeoman's job of preparing us for the Super Bowl. What people don't realize is that they generally see the final product, you know, the game and the halftime show, which is basically handled by the NFL committee. What they don't see is people like Matt and police departments and other agencies that are working behind the scenes to make sure that the patrons that are there are safe. So what we've been able to do is attend a variety of meetings, because with a Super Bowl event or any event of this magnitude, you're thinking about the major things such as terrorism, but you're also thinking about the minor things such as parking, which most people don't think about. You know, how do we transport people to and from? What's the impact it's going to have on the region, on the city, in terms of having that number of people, you know, hundreds of thousands of people are going to converge on the city, you know, from all over the place. And how do we handle that, and how do we make that experience a positive experience and a safe experience?
So how many people do we, Fulton County, have involved in this process?
Well, we have, again, the police department, we have the emergency management department.
But how many officers? How many do we have now, like 35 or 40?
About 40 officers.
Okay, that's it for now, that's it for us.
For right now.
So they're all going to be involved?
Oh, yes, at one level or
under your leadership?
Correct.
You're still the man?
But also understanding that we still have to provide the services that we provide on a daily basis, you know, provide those 911 calls.
How are you going to do that? I mean, with everything that's going on in this area,
yeah.
How are you going to do that with 40 folk and you still got responsibilities down south in the Fulton industrial area?
Well, we've been able to manage it, and working with our partners, Atlanta and some of the other agencies within the region, we're able to, again, maintain our day-to-day operations, but also provide support for the Super Bowl.
Okay, now since the stadium and all of the activities are right here, are you coordinating all of this activity for the Super Bowl?
Well, we're in coordination, and again, with Matt Kallmeyer, he provides a lot of information to us, and we also have our team from the police department that has been meeting with the Atlanta Police Department to see what their needs are. For instance, our SWAT team is going to provide support for Atlanta and what they're describing as the footprint for the Super Bowl.
So we will have the only SWAT team?
No, we're going to work in coordination with Atlanta, DeKalb, and some of our other UIC partners.
But they all have SWAT teams as well?
Correct.
Okay.
So we'll be one of 6 SWAT teams that are going to be involved in the Super Bowl.
Okay, and what role, if any, does the federal government play in this, and even the military for that matter?
Well, the federal government, again, they're working in conjunction with mainly the city of Atlanta to provide security. That's the main thing for an event of this size, the security, to ensure that any chatter or any intelligence that we receive regarding the Super Bowl, that we're able to respond to.
And budget-wise, what are we talking about? Do you got any idea?
No, I'm not sure of the budget. I know in our meetings that from the Fulton County end, we've had discussions about any monetary impact or financial impact, but it's going to be minimal for Fulton County.
Okay, and the emergency management aspect of it?
Well, the emergency management aspect covers so much. For instance, coordination of ambulances. Because again, I guess I would have to back up, because when you're talking about the emergency management or emergency preparedness, it's not only the police department, because you have other entities within Fulton County, like the IT department, that a lot of people don't think about, you know, the IT infrastructure and the possibility of it being attacked. We have to make sure that it's capable of providing the services and being prepared for anything. Health services. The health department in Fulton County also has to deal with the variety of businesses and those that are coming in to provide food services to make sure that they're meeting and they're up to code.
Okay. So is the control center here, or where is the control center?
Yes, down in our emergency our emergency operations center is the hub for what a lot of the activity will take place, as well as the events in Atlanta. They also have their joint operations center that will be up and running 24 hours a day throughout the Super Bowl event.
So with your involvement and the fact that it's, I mean, basically the control center is here, we are playing a major role in this, even
Yes,
though we
we are.
don't get the credit that others get
Oh, yes, so
for
we're
it. but
definitely playing a major role.
So we're ready.
Oh, we're definitely ready, because not only the footprint at the Super Bowl, where the Super Bowl will take place at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but we also have things to think about, like Fulton County Airport, Charlie Brown Airport. We're providing security there as well. In addition to
Wait a minute now. So we not, I mean, our officers are
our Fulton
under-
County Police Department officers will be
Okay.
providing support at Charlie Brown Airport, because what they're anticipating is having several hundred aircraft come in for the Super Bowl. People will fly in, the planes will be parked on airport property.
we're expecting, I'm assuming that PDK is going to be full.
Correct.
And we're going to be full as well. You're
Correct.
anticipating 200 private jets to
At
come in.
minimum, at minimum.
Wow.
So we're going to provide security, because they're going to have a TSA checkpoint out there as well. So we're providing security for Charlie Brown Airport. But in addition to our SWAT team, just going back a second, we also have our air asset, because we have a helicopter in the police department. So we will also be providing air support during the Super Bowl.
Is ours the only helicopter?
No, you have the DeKalb has helicopters, as well as Atlanta. So we're coordinating with one another to provide the air support. So there's a schedule of, when each bird will be up and what their duties and responsibilities will be during the Super Bowl.
So your men and women excited?
I think they are. They don't like the fact that they have so many hours of work that they have to do with no time off. But I think by and large they're ready for it. This is not the first time that they've had a big event.
So speaking of, they get paid overtime.
Yes,
Are we
they do.
paying them, or is the Super Bowl paying them?
No, that's coming from Fulton County, and that's what we have worked out with our finance department.
Okay, that's when I say that, because
So-
we're doing a lot, but
yes.
I mean, this is I probably shouldn't say this, so I'm gonna say it anyway. It's a sore spot, and I mean, we do a lot in areas and in situations like this, and for events like this, but we're sort of like an afterthought when it comes to really what happens. The focus seems to be on Atlanta, but it's right here in our backyard. So I think that, and what you're doing,
Yeah,
we're
it takes a
proud.
lot of collaboration.
Yeah.
And again, Fulton County has been involved so heavily in this. That can't be understated. Again, with our partnerships, be it with the police department or some of the other county agencies, even the medical examiner, for one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
The medical examiner is involved.
Has she had to staff up, bring in more people, or?
I don't believe she's had the staff up, but they just wanted to ensure that she has the ability in the event of a mass casualty incident. Of course, we're hoping that doesn't occur, but that she's able and ready. So when we're meeting, those are types of things that we discuss. We discuss the what if scenarios. What if this happens? Are we able to handle that event? What are the assets that we need? What other resources do we need? So those are the types of discussions that we've had over the course of time this last 2 years to make sure that we're ready.
All right, Grady Hospital.
Grady Hospital. Grady Hospital, we work in coordination with Grady in terms of, dealing with the medical examiners and the emergency management to coordinate if there's an event and how victims will be received. So they've been a good partner with us.
So it looks like Grady had to staff up, because I saw driving in some of those trailers from the Carolinas with the extra, I think there's 20 or 30 extra operating beds in each one of those. I saw 3 or 4 of those. So from my perspective, it looks like we're ready.
Yes, I believe so. And you'll also see some equipment around the Fulton County Government Center, just prepping for the Super Bowl.
So what about street closures? How are you involved in that?
That is mainly going to be with Atlanta, and it's going to, of course, impact our personnel, our staff, the staff of Fulton County. So we're getting the word out to let our staff know and let workers know that there is going to be some impact in terms of them coming to, going from work. So we've made a plan, and Jessica Corbett through the Department of Communication has gotten that information out. So we're working around that.
In major events like the Super Bowl 53, for example, I mean, what's the worst case and what can happen?
A terrorism event. So that's one of the major things that we prepare for whenever you have a major event like the Super Bowl, or whenever you have like the NCAA championship that we had hosted here recently in Atlanta. On the other side of it is you see an uptick in terms of certain types of crimes occurring too during the Super Bowl, such as assaults, vandalism, car break-ins. So those are the type of things that what law enforcement agencies do is we try to provide the services and the resources to stop that from happening.
Okay. Also, isn't there at least one event being planned for in the government center?
Yes, there's one event. Well, actually, I'll call it 4 events because it's 4 days. It's 4 days. It's Friday, well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Super Bowl Sunday. And that's something else that the Fulton County Police Department has responsibility for providing coverage, security coverage at those events.
Okay,
So,
well, you guys are going to be stretched thin.
Yeah,
I got one last question for you. Sex trafficking.
yes.
What are we doing? What are we looking out for?
I know for us,
You've been with me from the beginning
from
on
the
that,
beginning of
and
your
I really
initiative.
appreciate your
not a
involvement
problem.
and understanding.
yeah, we have been going out, ensuring that the businesses in our jurisdiction have been providing or putting up the signage that has been directed from state law, of course, and from the ordinance that the Board of Commissioners passed not long ago. The other thing, so we're trying to work in conjunction with the businesses. We went out, I guess about a month or so ago, and everybody's in compliance, so we felt good about that. So the other thing that we do personally, or as an organization, is we also have cameras up on Fulton Industrial Boulevard where we can see and determine if there's any type of trafficking going on.
So you're on top of it, in other words.
Yeah, and we make our officers aware that this is
Okay.
something that we really want to key in on.
All right. Chief, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Good man. Proud of it. All right.
Thank you so much.
Let's go to
Chairman.
work. All right. That's we come back more on the county's anti-sex trafficking campaign this weekend. Welcome back. We're coming to you in the shadows of Mercedes-Benz Stadium to talk about Fulton County's role in Super Bowl 53. For over a year, my office has been tackling the sex trafficking issue right here in our county. Well, this weekend could prove to be a breeding ground for those criminals who engage in this activity. But as you just heard from Fulton County Police has a zero tolerance policy on sex trafficking every day of the year, but especially during Super Bowl 53. Jennifer Swain is the executive director of Youth Spark, the organization that advocates on behalf of human trafficking victims. Jennifer, welcome back to the show. Couldn't wait to get back to talk to you. I know you have been very busy in anticipation of Super Bowl 53. So first of all, bring us up to date again on what Youth Spark does on a day in and day out basis, and specifically activities that you and your team have been involved in preparation for Super Bowl 53.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And Youth Spark is a nonprofit organization that's based right here inside of the Fulton County Juvenile Court. And we've been working really as the first agency created to respond to the needs of child sex trafficking victims. And we've been able to do a lot of work over the years in changing our mission. And today, we really work to intervene as quickly as possible with kids who are victims and kids who are most at risk. And we really just can't thank you enough for your leadership and for our juvenile court family and leadership for the ability for this unique partnerships to be on the front lines.
Okay, so now let's move to preparation for Super Bowl 53, because by reputation, history tells us and teaches us that big events like the Super Bowl are magnets for sex trafficking. So what has been the game plan in getting ready?
Well, it's just been so exciting all year to work with the leadership of the county and all of our community leaders who've been really gearing up to ensure that we have a great response. And specifically for your task force, that really has opened up a lot of doors for us to educate new groups and new sectors that we've never been able to do. So outside of just making sure that we're talking to the kids that we serve and the kids coming through juvenile court, we've also been able to partner with groups like the International Human Trafficking Institute, where we're able to train Super Bowl volunteers. I think it's so important that we have the eyes and ears on the ground, because law enforcement really do need the support from our community members. So we want all of the community to know, if you see something, what the signs are and how you can say something, because we know that community tips and community eyes and ears really make a difference when you have this many people in your city.
Okay, now what are the signs?
Well, first, I really wish I could say that if you have a child that looks like A, B, and C, then you have a victim, because it really is so much more than that.
If you have,
I really do believe that I could say to you that if you see these 3 warning signs, then you definitely have a victim.
Okay.
But we do know that sometimes you see all the warning signs and sometimes you see none. Anytime you have a child, I think a young person that maybe looks like they're in inappropriate adult relationships, they look like they're uncomfortable, maybe they don't make eye contact, they don't know where they're going or who they're going to see, they've been brought here from another location specifically for the weekend. Anytime you have some things like that, it's always a good thought to put a second set of eyes on that, or ask some more questions. Anytime you have young people out late at night with no supervision, that's always something that you want to report to law enforcement, because it could be that they're in a vulnerable situation. But sometimes it's what we call hidden in plain sight. You don't really know what it is, but something may make you feel that this is uncomfortable. The child may look afraid, but we're just asking, even if you don't know it to be sure, if you see something, just say something and let the authorities check it out.
well, actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, that happened to me. I was at our airport, as a matter of fact, and I saw this older gentleman. It just didn't look right. And I followed him. I never said anything. I just followed him. And finally, there was a woman who happened to be his wife, after I could, overhear the conversation. So you're right. Sometimes you just see it and it just doesn't feel right or look right. So what about the other organizations that you're working with?
There's so many coordinated responses. I mean, even from our your sex trafficking task force, as well as the Mayor's End Human Trafficking Initiative, we've really worked a lot with the Atlanta International Airport to make sure that we are offering information on their behalf. We know that there's a new information kiosk that is set up inside of the airport for travelers coming in and out if they want information on human trafficking or the signs. That was created by the Safe America Foundation. And there's, again, so many great things. Recently, speaking with Chief Judge Scales over at Juvenile Court about how inside the court we can begin to look at those higher risk youth on our caseload and intentionally connect with those kids, so that the parents know if there's something going on or your kid seems to be engaged, here is what you can do immediately to be able to get that kid into some care, or just refer that information.
So let's focus in on Super Bowl 53 right there. If there is a girl, primarily young girls, that happens to be caught up in this and they find some place to go, how do they contact you? They end up in court first, I assume.
Well, it really depends upon the nature of their rescue. If a young person is rescued, whether it be a young boy or a young girl, then law enforcement's response will take them directly to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Talk to me about the rescue first. So it would be volunteers out and they would contact law enforcement, or?
Yes.
Because I'd heard that the Super Bowl is actually training some 10,000 of the volunteers what to look out for. So presumably.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we've been able to do, is lead some of those trainings. And in the midst of them being trained on how we respond to questions about the Super Bowl, we also talk about what it looks like and what numbers you should call or what numbers you can text.
Okay, so one of the volunteers spots someone, then what?
Then they're supposed to make an anonymous tip. You can either call the Metro tip line,
Okay.
or you go to the team leader or law enforcement there, and then they will take over from whatever you say.
And then what happens? Then what happens?
If there's a law enforcement investigation, and we do know that the Atlanta Police Department has worked with local outreach groups who are going to be on the grounds, who are familiar with the areas where sometimes kids are what they call those throwaway populations, where they may hang out, then law enforcement are coordinating efforts with them so that you can refer them to law enforcement, allow law enforcement to make that investigation, and then we'll immediately get them into the medical care to make sure that they're physically
But how's
well.
all that going to happen in such a short? You got 2 or 3 days here. How do they end up with you?
Well, the
And your-
good part about it is that any child that's here who is from here, they can walk directly into our center. Law enforcement, they are aware that they can walk directly into our location.
Okay.
Even Fulton County Juvenile Court are creating specialized dockets potentially, so that even if there are cases to be heard, that they are reported to us. But let's not leave out our child welfare system.
Okay.
Anytime that this is a form of abuse, Chairman, so anytime that there is a child under the age of 18, you do not have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. We must notify DFACS immediately for them to take over that child welfare response, and
Okay.
DFACS will notify the
One other
courts.
quick question. What has been the role of the NFL, National Football League, and the Super Bowl committee in this?
Well, we know from the beginning of our efforts, especially led through the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, the Super Bowl committee has actually been at the table for a lot of these meetings. The day after the Super Bowl in 2018, the powers to be got to work, and they've been committed to working with not only different groups on the ground, but also coordinating with the agencies that participate in Georgia's statewide human trafficking task force.
Are we ready?
We are ready. We've been ready.
All right, Jennifer. Great to see you.
Thank you so much for having
I can't
us.
say you look great, but you do.
Thank you
I'm
very
gonna
much.
say it anyway.
We appreciate your
Thank
leadership.
you back. My final thoughts when we come back. As we wrap up today's show, I wanted to share with you that my office in Fulton County government welcomes the National Football League and its million-plus fans who are descending on our city this week and weekend. However, we want you to be aware of the sex trafficking issues that are often prevalent during these big kinds of events. If you suspect any illegal activity, we urge you to contact police by simply calling 911. And again, Fulton County has a zero tolerance policy before, during, and long after Super Bowl 53. If you want to get involved in our anti-sex trafficking campaign, contact my office. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Please connect with me online to let me know what you think about this topic or any other. Well, that's our time. Thank you for yours, and a special thanks to our guest today. We'll see you next time on the Chairman's Circle.